And we are live. How's everyone doing out there?
Live in 2021. All
That's
right. We made it here. High five.
High five.
What is it? January 6th?
Yes, January 6th. We've been away for a while. It's been at least a couple of weeks, right, since we've done it?
It has been 2 weeks.
Before Christmas?
Yeah, I think we came on, I think it was the 6th. It's been a couple of weeks. So we appreciate you all coming back and supporting us tonight, even though we've been gone for 2 weeks. I tried to do it last week, but I just couldn't do it.
And we understand that there may not be as many people tuning in tonight. They may not be able to pull their eyeballs away from the evening news to see what's going on. So
there's a lot going on right now. But
fair enough. That's a little more exciting than the immigration
horrifying,
law updates.
Exciting, all of the above. Hi G2, hi Lisa, and hello to everyone who is joining us. And we're here. Happy New Year, 2021.
We are here. I'm John Gardner. This is Radla Mendoza, my wife and law partner, and we are Gardner and Mendoza. Come to you every Wednesday night from 6 to 7. We haven't for the last 2 weeks because of the holiday, but we're back. And we like to do this. We give you state court updates. We give you immigration court updates, immigration issue updates, law updates. And most importantly, we like to answer questions. So if you have any questions specifically about immigration law, but really about anything that's legal related, please post them in the comments and we will answer them on the fly. All
yes, let me try to get this up here. And my hair is still growing. It has not been cut yet. Look, there's that piece. Don't know what to do with that. If anyone knows what to do about this kind of growing out hair, just please write it in the comments.
Yeah. And
I'm seeing it here on the Facebook Live. It is really far away. There is actual product in this hair, and it's just all right. There we go.
I should mention before we get started that while we are answering questions here and providing information, what we do here is for education and information purposes only. It is not technically legal advice. Okay, so that's our disclaimer that our lawyer.
Told us to say.
Yeah, told us to say. There you go.
But I'm just so happy you guys are here. I'm happy that we're back.
Yeah.
I was a little afraid that we wouldn't really know what to do after being gone for 2 weeks. But again, as John said, we are here to answer your questions.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. So
write them in the comments. I will be looking down at the screen.
Get them in there. We'll be answering them in real time. The things that we're going to be talking about tonight. So the first thing we're going to be doing is our inspirational story, immigration story of the week. This is something that we added, I don't know, some time ago.
We've only done it once.
Have we only done it once?
And then we were on break for 2 weeks.
Oh, you're right. That's why it seems like, okay, it was before the break. In any event, we will be giving an inspirational immigration story. And if you have one, please let us know. You can send it to us, email us or call us or text us, whatever, or message us. And maybe we'll feature you in one of our Facebook Lives in the future. It can be your story. It can just be an interesting immigration story. Somebody famous, somebody not famous, whatever. Okay?
Yes,
so that's
absolutely.
What we're going to do. We also are going to be giving USCIS updates. Recap important information that's going on right now. I'm going to be briefly mentioning some updates. There's a new cell phone law. And also reminding folks that the driver privilege card law is active as of January 1st. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then most importantly, we're going to be answering your questions, as I said, and also just a little bit of a kind of looking at some of the immigration issues that are out there and what we might see in the incoming Biden administration. That's kind of like crystal ball stuff. We're not saying that it will. We're just,
John's doing that.
We'll see what the issues are and see what we think maybe the future may hold. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. All right.
Hello to everyone who is saying hello to us, Braxton, Evelina, Jimmy. Thanks for putting my childhood nickname in the comments. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's great to see
you're in the
guys.
Wayback Machine when it's jing up there, right?
Yeah.
All right, so without further ado, shall we start with let's get to the story. Our immigration story of the week.
Inspirational immigration story. The person that we want to talk a little bit about tonight is our dear friend and neighbor, Kate Beba.
Yeah, hi Kate.
And is Kate on?
It is. She
Fantastic.
Is. She is.
So Kate, as I said, is our neighbor. We've lived in this neighborhood for 20 years. I'm not sure when Kate and her husband, Rob, moved in, but she's from the UK, England to be specific. She's an educator, a music teacher. For some reason, she adores children. She loves animals. I can understand that a little bit better. She is the business owner of Simple Luxury Skincare Products. And as I said, she's married to Rob Beba, who is an amazing soccer player. He's retired now, but he's an amazing soccer player. And now, 20 years ago, a physical therapist. And she is mother to Lydia, and that's probably her most proudest thing that she can stake claim to. Am I right, Kate? And Lydia is not a child. She's 27 or whatever. She's she's an adult, but loves her daughter and loves her daughter-in-law. Lydia is famous in her own right with her dog pack and her work with animals. But anyhow, so Kate does all of these things. As I said, she immigrated from the UK 20 years ago. But most importantly, guys, Kate is just a light to so many people, and every single person that she meets, she just gives them her generosity, her spirit, her love. She's just so caring, always humble, always positive, and we just love her, and she's just a perfect person
Kate
to
is
feature.
She's all good energy.
She is all good energy, but Kate is, she's on our Facebook Live sometimes. She's watching the sunrise with us. And she's always crediting me with helping her to become a U.S. citizen. And I just kind of want to set the record straight that I did not do anything. I did not even represent Kate. And all I did was, she was on the beach. And I said, Kate, you really should apply for citizenship before your daughter turns 18. Because then your daughter can derive citizenship from you, her naturalized U.S. citizen mother. And she did just that. She was like, oh, well, that's really important. So I'm going to do that. And I'll just do a little PSA here. I wish all parents who are lawful permanent residents and ready to naturalize would say, oh, that's a great benefit for my child who is not 18 yet. I'm going to go ahead and naturalize so my child can also become a U.S. citizen through that process. So hats off to you, Kate, your whole family. And we just love you. And I just want to read, I stole this off of her Facebook page. And she says, these are Kate's words. She says, 20 years ago, this was on New Year's Eve. So imagine arriving to the United States on New Year's Eve. She says, 20 years ago, 2 days after getting married, I boarded a plane in Manchester, UK, with my husband and 7-year-old daughter to start a new life. In the USA, so sad to leave family, loved ones, my home, and my job behind, but so excited to see what the future held. We landed in Norfolk at 7 p.m., midnight in the UK, with our suitcases and hearts full of hope. What an incredible, fabulous journey it's been, the happiest 20 years of my life, and long may it continue. The USA has been so very kind to us. A happy, and a healthy New Year to all. So if that's not an inspirational story, guys, really? I don't know what is from this amazing person, Kate Beba. Thank you so much for being an amazing person for us to feature this week.
Mm-hmm. Perfect person to choose. Absolutely perfect.
I know. She really is.
I have a real quick side story. This is about Kate's husband, Rob. So when I first moved here with Radlin in 1998, I played in an over 30 soccer league, and I played in it for many years, but Rob was one of the people that played in it, and the very first team that I played on, he was on my team, and it was that year that Radlin's parents' store, sadly, had a fire, and it burned down, and everything was lost for the most part, but there was a cooler, I guess, because the cooler was so cold, that even with the fire, all the beer that was in the cooler had survived the fire. Okay.
Yeah, the beer survived. Woo!
And we had a tradition in those days because we used to play down at Oceana in those days, and we had this tradition that every week somebody on the team would bring beer for us to drink after the game. So when it was my turn, I brought all this beer that had been in the fire. Okay, it's all this burned beer. It had like black sit on it, and we cleaned it off. And so anyway, I brought a bunch
There's
of
a whole
it.
cooler full of exotic beers.
Exotic beers, and we're sitting there, and this is just before I even knew Kate. This is before we knew them from the neighborhood, and we're sitting there drinking this beer, and I give it out to everybody. I said, "I'm sorry, everybody. This beer was in fire, so it may taste odd to you, but we'll give it a shot."
Seems pretty fine. It's in a container.
So Rob takes the first one, and it's a Tecate. I remember it was a Mexican beer.
Which is not exotic at all nowadays.
Yeah. He opens it up and he's drinking it, and he said, "Oh, tastes fine. Tastes a bit like tea."
Right. From a Brit.
From a Brit.
Of course it does.
So anyway, we had the Tecate, which tasted a bit like tea, and
Right.
and then years later, we just bump into each other in the neighborhood. I'm like, "Wait a second.
Is that the taste a bit like tea guy?
This is the guy from my soccer team," and
Right.
yep, we've been better friends ever since. So that's my story about that. All right, we'll move on to some.
I mean, I don't want to move on,
issues.
but we're gonna move on. Am I next for immigration updates?
You are
No COVID, COVID-19 updates.
You
other
are
than wear a
next.
mask and
You are
be
next
safe.
for immigration updates. All right.
Okay, we move on from Kate Beba.
And for years in our household, as a joke, whether
For
we're
years.
tasting food, or whatever, eating, drinking, we've had for 20 years this ongoing joke when we taste something, and one of us will say, "It's good. Tastes a bit like tea."
Forgive the fake British accent.
Oh yeah. Well, we're a lot of fake accents. That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Okay, just Rob's though, because they're friends. All right.
That's
So, let's talk about, there was another Trump Proclamation 10131, and that was, is it passed or written in or made on 12/31/20. And basically, this is pretty big news. It extended the previous proclamations, 114 and 152, that basically suspended people from coming into the United States without immigrant visas or non-immigrant visas as it relates to a lot of business-based visas. So that has been extended. That expired on 12/31, and it has been extended though. So that's still in effect. If you guys have any questions, if you're outside of the United States, this only impacts people who are out of the United States. So if you're out, you feel like you're stuck, reach out to us, send us a message. There are exceptions to this, but the fact of the matter is many of the embassies are still closed and operating at, very, very minimal capacity. So I'm not going to say it's not a big deal. It is a big deal that it has been extended, but it's something that is going to be happening anyway based on the U.S. embassies being closed. And the U.S. embassies are focusing primarily, their top priority is U.S. citizenship services. So, of course, if you're needing an immigrant or non-immigrant visa, that's not going to fall under U.S. citizenship services. And so you're going to be stuck waiting anyhow. So that's the first update for this week. And we've got a question. So are you going to kind of make a note of that real quick? So we're going to go through the updates real quick. And then we'll look at the questions
Okay.
if we can do that. Which maybe we should have two computers when we're doing this. But here, let me just write that down there. So the other immigration update I want to mention today is that the government filed an unopposed motion for voluntary dismissal of its appeal in the IRLC v. Wolf. And what does that legal mumbo jumbo mean? It means that the USCIS final rule, where they're trying to increase the immigration filing fees is going to be enjoined, and therefore fees are not going to go up right now in the foreseeable future. So that's wonderful news, but John and I still want to tell you, as we've been telling you for months and months now, I can't believe it's been months and months since coronavirus started. It's unreal sometimes to think about it. But we really encourage you guys to still file, okay? Even though you might go, okay, the filing fees are not going up. The N400 is still going to be $725. The marriage cases are still going to be, $1,760. But there is a severe backlog right now in the processing of immigration cases. And so we really, really, really want to push you all, if you're ready to file, if you're working with an attorney, if you're self-filing and you think everything's ready to go, please file your case, because it's only going to get longer. USCIS has had on their website for multiple months now that, this is a quote that, let's see here. The facility capacity restrictions necessary to protect the health and safety of the lockbox force during COVID-19 is causing significant delays for processing receipt notices. It's also causing delays in adjudicating everything. So we've got delays in adjudication. We've got delays in processing receipt notices. Some of you guys are feeling that right now, especially if you filed a 751 and you haven't gotten that receipt that extends your green card for a year. For EB3 cases, employment-based 3 cases, you haven't gotten your receipt yet, so there's just delays and delays and delays. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here for 2021. It's just the reality of the situation. We're all impacted by COVID, and these are all COVID-19 delays, and it's just going to get worse, I think. We got a really long email from the USCIS community relations person that talks about the massive backlog for biometrics appointments. Some of these numbers are astonishing. So so this is basically a little bit about what's been happening with the Application Support Center, and the Application Support Center processes your biometrics. So if you're getting a green card, you need biometrics. If you are an H4, you need biometrics. So many people need biometrics. So essentially, they said from July to September, ASCs were operating at below 50% of pre-COVID levels. By late October, they increased operations to approximately 65% of pre-COVID levels. So 65%, you're, again, not at 100% capacity. The current state, approximately 1.3 million applications are waiting biometrics appointment as of mid-December. So yes, we're struggling, in managing the, just the uncertainty of this with the biometrics. It's very, very concerning for our clients, because without biometrics, you cannot move forward with your case. So to give you an idea, 1.3 million applications are waiting biometrics as of mid-December. So what do they say? They say, continue to wait. And unfortunately, that's what we have to tell our clients as well. Continue to wait, just because there's nothing that anyone can really do based on what's happening. Biometrics, when they will be reused. And I wanted to highlight this, that within a benefit type, USCIS generally schedules appointments on a first in, first out basis. So again, we're talking about first in, first out, file when you can. All right, no more of that, right? Are we done? Are we done with the
biometrics updates? Yes,
we're just the delays updates. Let's move on to something a little bit more fun.
Well, we had a couple of questions while you were
going on and on.
One was whether there are any updates. It's a very general question, whether there are any updates on folks who are waiting for green cards in the United States.
What office, do we know?
I didn't say. And the other question was, and here's part of it as well, Virginia, to make sure, it doesn't matter. The question was basically, it doesn't matter what state you apply for a green card in, right? I mean, a green card is a green card wherever you are.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, it does not matter what state you are in. If you apply for the green card, the local office is going to, where you live, is going to be the one to adjudicate that application. So for you, the question is. Oh, this is sweet. We reside in California, but want to apply from Virginia to make sure we are with you during our steps. So if you live in California, then your case will you'll eventually have an interview in California. And I would certainly love to go to California and represent you guys. Let me know about that. That would be fun. But you have to have your interview where you live. So all of the steps up until that final interview, we are handling the steps. We are handling the the filing. We are handling well, let's go one step further. We're handling the gathering information. We're handling the preparation of applications. We're handling the filing. We're handling all of the correspondence that you're going to get back and forth from USCIS. We're handling any issues, any delays, or anything that's weird, or request for evidence. Hopefully not, but handling all of that. Also, the interview prep. Once you get your interview notice, we prepare you for that interview. Everything up until that interview, and of course, unless you want to hire us to go out to California, we could do a trip. Disneyland.
Ooh, we could drive.
You don't know about that. So I hope that answers your question, and feel free to reach out through Messenger too if you have any other questions about that. Bobby, what's going on? Thank you for stopping in to say hi. Put your immigration question in there if you have one. You probably don't, but
you can drive, by the way. When I was a kid, we flew to California and then bought a used car and then drove it all the way back to Ohio.
Ugh, that sounds pretty awful.
Yeah,
especially with 3 daughters. Bobby has 4 or 5 daughters.
I think my Aunt Sue was on here. Sue, if you're still here, you remember that. I mean, you weren't with us, but I'm sure you heard all about it.
Thank you, GT. You're awesome too.
Yeah.
So there was another question. I think maybe it was from Harshan, and he says, any updates for people who are waiting for green card in the United States?
Right, that was the one that the first
in
one.
Virginia, no updates. I mean, I feel like I have a little bit of backstory on that case, so I feel like that should have been adjudicated by now. Not sure why it hasn't been, but no, I don't have any updates about that. They're just, like I said, they are people down. I mean, people have left the Norfolk Immigration Office and they're not allowed to replace them with another person because of I don't know if it's called the hiring freeze in the federal government, but we'll call it the hiring freeze. So, Harshan, if that's you and that's your question, reach out to me. We'll see if we can, shoot not an email, because we don't have email access anymore to Norfolk, but we'll see what we can do for you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I was gonna get to something really just not fun, but John and Sarah and I are gonna do another DACA webinar within the next.
Fun. It's a lot of
fun.
fun.
Is fun. Okay,
totally.
yeah. I mean, it might not be fun for others in DACA webinar, but yes, be fun for us and for those who need that information within the next 30 days. So please stay tuned for when that is going to be, because I thought that was really good and extremely helpful, especially the criminal portion. Yeah. Just a lot. Once we start going down the criminal misdemeanor rabbit hole with any immigration case, right, it does take up a lot of the time, and we are going to be speaking, not tonight, maybe next week, because we thought about talking about, but we are going to talk about marijuana again, because I think that's just such a, just a pitfall. It's a pitfall. A snake pit.
As a crimmigration, that's what we call it sometimes, the lawyers.
Immigration, yeah.
We do immigration and criminal, and really my clients, I represent a lot of folks that are at the intersection there, and I have heartburn about the marijuana situation because I just see how loose everybody's getting with it, just, around, and that's fine if you are a U.S. citizen. Yeah. Have at it, do what you want if that's your thing. But, and I don't want to get into this now, you're going to do this another night. It does. It gets a little crazy. But if you are not a U.S. citizen, please just watch out. Just because there's only a civil fine now for it, or even if you're in a state where it's legal, that's state law. If you're not a U.S. citizen, you still have potential immigration trouble from that, so just watch it, okay? Slow your roll. Is that what our kids say sometimes on things? I don't think they say that anymore. I think they said that like 3 days ago. And it's out already. Now it's already out. Yeah. Okay. But hey, while you were talking about DACA, I was just going to shift gears a little bit. Instead of talking about the driver privilege card, let's just stay on DACA for just a moment. Okay. Okay. And we are going to be doing the webinar. But what I was talking about, some of the things that we may see with the incoming administration. And one thing deals with DACA. This is a really big one, really. And what will happen is hard to say. But right now, as things stand, If you joined us a couple of weeks ago, you know that, or if you are, eligible for DACA yourself, you know that the government, they are accepting new DACA applications, okay? There was some litigation around that, and then a federal judge in Brooklyn basically said, ordered them to start taking the new applications again. So right now everything is fine, except that there's potential trouble brewing on the horizon, and that's because of a case that was just heard on the 22nd in Houston with a federal judge there, Judge Andrew Hanen, and court watchers who were there reporting on it say that the questioning makes them think that he may be inclined to stop DACA. And some of the other cases that have gone before the court have dealt with standing and those kinds of issues. This lawsuit is a little bit different. This challenge to DACA is a little bit different because it's going right to the very heart of DACA. It's arguing that it was unconstitutional in the way that it was created in 2012 when President Obama put it in place in the first place. And this is the same federal judge who ruled a long time ago that DAPA, which was the extension of DACA to the parents, was unconstitutional. So a lot of folks who watch this, including myself, this is a little cause for concern, because just like the judge in Brooklyn put DACA back on, this federal judge could also just turn it off again and rule it unconstitutional, make it, one federal judge in the whole country orders something and that's it. The entire country is stuck with it until it gets through the appeal process, goes through an appeal, and go to a court of appeals, and then it goes up to the Supreme Court. So we're kind of watching that. If you are eligible for DACA and you need a little motivation to get it going, this could be it. Like, move now, get it filed, get it going, because if this judge rules it is unconstitutional and then, stays any further proceedings while it's on appeal, then you could be stuck in limbo. Now, this all is in the context of the fact that on January 20th, we're going to have a new president, right? So that becomes the real question about what the Biden administration is going to be doing with DACA. And, this all could become a moot point perhaps because, Biden has already indicated that he's going to do everything he can within his executive power to continue DACA. But a legislative fix really is what will be needed here, because unlike the violations of the Administrative Procedures Act, which temporarily halted things, if this judge rules and the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court agree that at its constitutional core, DACA was unconstitutional, all right, then an executive order isn't going to fix it. Biden won't be able to do it that way. He'll have to go through a legislative process, okay? I'm not as worried about that as I was just a week ago, because it does appear that the Senate now also will be in control of the Democrats with the 2 Georgia wins in the runoff elections yesterday. So it's still going to be a very, very closely divided Senate. And I think the margin in the House is only 7 or 8 votes. And, these folks come from all over the country, and some of them are in districts where these votes are a little harder than they are for, say, somebody in Brooklyn, okay? So we'll see what happens with this, but I think that crystal ball, I think that this is something that will come up legislatively pretty early on. I'm hopeful. I know that we've said that before. I don't know that I'm not promising massive, comprehensive immigration reform, although I think with the wins in Georgia, that also could be on the table. The Congress may have an appetite for this right now for the first time in a long time, and Biden may push it, knowing that he's got to strike while the iron is hot, because in 2022, he may lose control of the Congress. So he's got a 2-year window here. If he's going to do something big with immigration, he's got 2 years to do it, okay? But DACA, at least, I think DACA is definitely something that could be legislatively fixed, and I think that it's something that he'll be pushing for, and I think that he'll get some Republican support for it. I think the appetite is there, all right?
Awesome. Well, I hope you're right.
That's my crystal ball.
You are very, very positive in 2021.
No, I think DACA is going to get legislation. I think the only question is going to be, will it be part of a bigger immigration bill? And the only worry that I have is that if the push is too hard for a bigger bill and it gets bogged down and it gets stuck in the mud and then it starts to grind along and nothing happens. That's something we've seen happen so many times with legislation. But if it's just a skinny DACA bill, I think that's easy. Okay, that's my prediction. Oh, and my Aunt Jill is on. Hi, Jill.
Hi, Jill. Happy New Year.
All right, a couple other things. And this is not just my opinion. You know, I've been looking around. I particularly was interested in an article in Forbes where several immigration lawyers were contributing to this. On the refugee front, he's promised to increase the annual refugee admissions cap to 125,000 compared to the Trump administration's level of 15,000 for fiscal year 2021. So that's a pretty significant increase in that front. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about here? Yes, TPS. As you know, TPS is temporary protected status for, these are vulnerable populations who can't find safety in their countries, you know, because of violence, natural disaster, that kind of thing, political trouble. And Biden has talked about extending that to include protection for Venezuela. And also he's considering a plan to shield more than 1 million more immigrants from Honduras and Guatemala from deportation after those countries had hurricanes in November. Those countries have always been part of TPS, but he's talking about an expansion that would include these more recent natural disasters in addition to Venezuela. All right. The public charge, President-elect Biden has already said that eliminating the public charge rule and a health insurance proclamation and other policies designed to hinder legal immigration could be among his most important pushes when he becomes president. So I think hopefully we'll see the public charge rule. It's been another one of those things, on again, off again, on again, off again, depending on what federal judge in what district has been ruling on it and what court of appeals has been hearing it. I think it'll probably become off again for at least for the duration of the Biden administration would be my guess. All right. I think that Biden will do as much as he can with executive action, and he'll be able to do a lot with executive action because a lot of the Trump administration immigration policies have been through proclamations and they've been through executive orders, and those things can be undone. It'll take time. I think there's a misconception that Biden on day one will just be able to reverse everything. He can set the reversal in motion, but some of these things are going to take not days, but months to be reversed, okay? So be patient.
Hang in there.
And the very last thing in my crystal ball that I wanted to discuss was H-1Bs. There's also been talk about increasing the number of H-1Bs under a Biden administration, but not just extending the number, but also trying to recalibrate the denial rate. And I found this to be kind of a fascinating table, something I hadn't realized as much. I guess maybe we kind of saw it in real time in our practice, but to see the numbers is pretty staggering. In 2015, the denial rate for H-1Bs was only 6%. 6% that was the denial rate for H-1B applications.
None of mine.
By 2018, that denial rate had gone up to 24%, and it was at 21% in 2019 and 2020. So one thing the Biden administration, people are already talking about for H-1Bs is trying to get that denial rate back down, which, you know, in other words, more cases being approved, however they go about that, okay? So that's right. Madeline's H-1Bs always get approved. She's really, really, really good at them. But
I wouldn't say always. I was teasing.
But
you can never guarantee 100% success. We're not allowed to do that.
But you can just imagine. I mean, if 96% of them are getting, or 94% are getting approved in 2015, and only 86% are getting approved, or 76% are getting approved in 2018, that's a huge change.
Absolutely.
All right.
It's been a struggle with H-1Bs, I'll tell you. Oof.
Yeah. So
especially when they, anyway, we're not going to get into that.
Keep our fingers crossed. We just, I know that there are people all over the board on these immigration issues, but we really can afford to have just some really well thought out immigration reform that benefits all the things that we need. I mean, we need a bigger labor force in the U.S. right now, so H-1B should be a no-brainer. That one alone. All right? Okay.
All right. Well, there are a couple of questions from Janice. Janice, how's it going? Happy New Year to you and your family. She asks, has anything changed on the public charge rule? You mentioned the crystal ball that may be going away. Hopefully it is. I've read that as well, but that's going to take time because that one's going to take a little bit more time than the presidential proclamations to reverse. But that said, the State Department is, and I think if my memory serves me correctly, 3 kids and stuff, coronavirus, homeschooling, virtual learning. If my memory serves me correctly, your case is going to get consular processed at the State Department level. So they are blocked. The State Department is blocked from applying the public charge rule as of now at the U.S. consulates and embassies. So that should be good. That's good news for you, right? Am I right? Give me a thumbs up if I'm right about this is a consular processing case for your dad. I think it's for dad. And then the other question is, does the I-130 ever expire? So that's a really fantastic question. So in a case where, you're just waiting on the government, to adjudicate it, and let's just say that the I-130 has already been adjudicated, you've got a USCIS approval, that is not going to expire unless you go on to the National Visa Center stage and you take no action. Okay, so if you take no action if you don't get in contact with the National Visa Center for a year, then they send you a letter saying, hey, are you still interested in doing this immigrant visa? You haven't contacted us within a year. You need to let us know what you plan on doing. Then they give you a whole, other year? Sorry, John and I made up a word. Another. I know. They give you a whole other year, additional year.
We're trying to break this bad habit of saying another. A whole nother year. I'll have a whole nother piece of chicken. I don't even know where it came from.
Probably from your. Okay, never mind. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna step into there. So, they give you an additional year after they send you that letter saying, "Hey, you better contact us. If not, 1 year from now, we're going to terminate this case." So, you're not. I don't believe that you're anywhere near that. So don't worry about it. And then of course, the I-130 petition can be denied if you don't answer a request for evidence. But that's not the question that you asked. Can it expire? It can, in a sense, if you don't take any action after it has been approved. All right.
Yeah, if my Aunt Sue is still on, I don't know. I have a lot of family from West Virginia, beautiful West Virginia, and it may be a colloquialism from the Bluestone River region, Hinton.
My parents don't say that.
I'm sure they don't. Sue, if you're still on, let me know where I'm getting the "nother"
I think we just
from.
made it up. I think it's a Radlin and
so.
John thing. Even our 17 was like, "Did you just say "nother" again? That's not a real word."
Okay, I can't blame this one on my people.
Nor mine.
Right.
Okay, so I wanted to, let's see here. We've got a couple of more updates. I just want to make sure that we haven't missed any questions, which I don't think we have. I wanted to, okay. So Janice says hers is approved. Haven't done anything else though while waiting on the public charge to change. So, just make sure that you're in contact with the National Visa Center, even if you are, just making an inquiry. And I think that I'm just, it's been a while since I talked to you. I think that you're fine. And I think you're even fine to move forward with the case because there's just a lot of things that you can do prior to that public charge rule rearing its ugly head. It's going to happen at the interview. So there are things that you can do. Of course, you can pay the NVC fees of $445. You can submit your affidavit of support. I think that's what one of your concerns is, but that's outside of the public charge rule. And I think maybe we also talked about this too. So there are other things you can do. You can submit Dad's, 2 passport photos. You can submit his birth certificate, and you can really just like take your time in uploading that to the site, and that's going to be fine. And it's going to count as your communication with the National Visa Center. So I don't think you have anything to worry about with that, but, again, it's not being applied to U.S. embassies right now. Okay, so move forward. All right, I wanted to mention, somebody sent a comment, a question to me through my personal messenger, and I answered it a little bit, and I said that I would kind of elaborate on it tonight on Facebook Live, but the issue, and I think that maybe there are a lot of people out there who are maybe going through this, but the issue is, you have entered the United States on, let's say, one particular status, and you couldn't leave for whatever reason. So you switched it over to a B1, B2, which is a tourist visa status. And USCIS has granted that, but you only ask for 6 months. You can only ask for 6 months at a time. And that 6 months now has expired. And so you're now, the 6 months is gone, and now you're 5 months outside of that time when you were supposed to go back to your country. So the issue with this particular question is, I've just been struggling to get the money together to even do the filing fee and file this extension. Now we're at 5 months. So my answer to her was, they may deny it because it's so far outside of the time. You're supposed to be in status when you file another extension. Okay, now there are exceptions, and they are applying exceptions due to COVID, but this is 5 months. I've never asked for an extension due to COVID with this lengthy period of time that has elapsed. I'm not saying that they wouldn't approve it, but you're already 5 months. You're only going to be asking for 6. So 6 months, you can only ask for 6 months. So that would mean, okay, you ask for 6 months, you're supposed to be leaving then next month, right? Because 5 months plus 1 is 6. And there's also the issue of the 3 and 10 year bar. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about. If you've been out of status in the United States for more than 180 days and you leave the United States, you are barred from entering the United States for 3 years. Okay, so that's the 3 year bar. So if you go back and you apply for the visa and they say, okay, it looks like you've overstayed here, and they calculate that time to be over 180 days, you're not going to be able to get that visa. You're not going to be able to enter the United States for 3 years. If you overstay for a year or more and you leave the United States, then that's going to trigger the 10-year bar, and you're not going to be allowed to come in with a 10-year bar because of the 10-year bar. And of course, there are waivers for that. So I wanted to mention that. So just be very, very careful with your time out of status. It's very understandable during right now because of Corona, but you can still apply for an extension and try to get that resolved. Okay, so I wanted to mention that for that person who wrote in and asked that question. Just be careful with the 3 and 10 year bars. Now these 3 and 10 year bars are only triggered if you leave the United States. It's tough. It's if you don't leave, then you're out of status, right? If you're in between 180 days and 365 days or more, and you go past a year, then it's a 10-year bar. So there's just a lot to weigh there. And, I think that the people who have scheduled an appointment with us and we've talked them through it, I think they have found it helpful to know what their options are and just make a decision that's going to impact their future immigration into the United States. So, all right. Have we still have any other questions?
Nope, that's it. So
Okay.
far.
Yeah, and we're at our 45-minute mark.
All right. So very briefly, can we switch back to state courts for just a moment?
Absolutely.
Want to remind everyone that state courts are up and running. Everything is as usual, but you do need to have a mask to get into any courthouse, and you have to observe social distancing once you're in the courthouse. Some places are taking temperatures, not all of them, but just be prepared for that, and some questions about COVID. Okay. The other thing I wanted to remind everyone is that, as you may have heard, it's now illegal to hold your cell phone while driving in Virginia, and earbuds can only be in one ear, okay? Whereas my one daughter says, in a singular earbud in a singular ear, all right?
Great.
Not sure.
Now you're teasing our child.
Well, she teased me about another, right?
That's true. It's touche.
The first offense, if you violate these, will be $125, and each subsequent offense will be $250. So, just put the phone away and create a new habit in the new year, all right, of not being on your phone or, stopping in a red light and immediately seeing if anything has changed since the last red light that you were at, 45 seconds
Who does
before.
that? It's just
Look
ridiculous.
around. I would
That's
never.
just
I would
absurd.
Never, I put my phone
In a baggie.
in a lockbox in the back of the car while I'm driving, so I
Right.
won't do that.
You're gonna have to do that now because you have a $125 fine if you don't.
That's right. Also, I want to remind everyone, we are in the January 2021 now, so I've been talking about this for a while. Driver privilege card is up and running, and we are already helping people with this, so
Yes.
give us a call if you want us to help you with it. You can call us at 464-9224, or you can email me, jcg@gmlaw.net, or if you want to do it on your own, that's fine as well. You can self-file. I think there are pitfalls to that, but, I'm a lawyer, so of course I'm going to tell you that, right?
And you can also send us a message through Messenger.
Yeah, that's
Gardner
right.
Mendoza Messenger, or to my personal messenger, Radlin Mendoza. But we always love coming to Facebook Live. I missed it the last 2 weeks. If you guys are our clients right now, we really thank you for your patience during the week that we were closed. It's just a wonderful thing that we are able to provide for ourselves and for our team members, for them to be able to spend time with their family. And all the emails come to me, and there weren't that many, so
Yeah, that's right.
it was all good. I mean, we're never really closed here at Gardner Mendoza. We're always answering our clients' inquiries and helping people out.
Right.
And we want to continue to do that in 2021. So we really, really, really appreciate your support. And if you think anyone would benefit from our weekly Facebook Live immigration and court updates, please share with them. And we hope to see more people on in 2021 and hopefully answering more questions.
That's right. Absolutely. And just to finish out those requirements, you need to have filed taxes in Virginia. You'll need a tax ID number. You'll need insurance, and you'll need to pass the test. If you're going to do this, make your appointment with DMV ASAP, because they're scheduling things way out. If you haven't filed taxes but you earned money, which is a requirement, we can get an individual tax ID number for you. Just let us know. We can help you with all of that. Okay?
Yes. We are working with a team of people to assist us in that, because there are a lot of people that need it and that are actually allowing us to help them.
So if you have immigration issues that prevent you from getting just a regular Virginia driver's license, then this driver privilege card may be right for you. Okay?
All right, guys. I guess
That's
that's over and out.
That's
John and
over
I
and out.
are we're on a healthy eating kick. Who does that at the beginning of the year? We're going to be successful. 30 days, Whole Foods.
Right.
No, not Whole Foods. Whole 30. And it's dinner time.
Yeah, I feel like during the new year, remember when I was talking about the denial rates with the H-1Bs, there's probably a similar stat with the rates of people that are on diets at the beginning versus the end.
30 days.
Anyway.
We can do anything for 30 days.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, everyone, I'm from Ohio, is where I was born and raised, and I went to the Ohio State University undergrad, not law school, but undergrad. And on Monday, they will be playing in the college football national championship. So, go Bucks.
Go Bucks. And 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you back next Wednesday.
Great to be back. We'll see you next Wednesday, all right? Keep sending us questions if you have them, because we will continue to monitor this for the rest of the night. Okay? And tomorrow. And every day after thereafter.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. See ya.
Bye, guys. Thank you.